Are we ready? Are we ready for another Saturday Final Cut TV and Coffee? I think I'm ready. Got a little bit of crud. Going on. So you have to excuse if I cough or whatever. I'll try to hit the cough button. Wintertime, sometimes these things happen. So how's everybody doing today? Now, one thing you have to be aware of, I had to take my computer glasses and to get the lenses replaced. So I'm back on my driving glasses. Everything's a little bit blurry. Not quite, I can't quite see as clear as I normally can, but I expect to have them back maybe next week if I'm lucky. If not, the week after. Thank you. Very, very cool. So I got some little bit of discovery today. Some interesting things. Greetings from Tech Mixer. Good evening from the Netherlands. Absolutely. What's the temperature out there? It is very cold here. It is 28 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 4 degrees below freezing. So it's very cold. We're expecting 6 inches of snow starting to Sunday night, maybe more. So stay tuned for that. I'll probably do a live stream of some of the snow activities. We'll see if that happens. Hello from soon to be snowy Lincoln, Nebraska. Absolutely. We're getting hit with a lot of snow tomorrow. Everybody's saying it's very possible. Hello from Canada. I'm sure it's cold in Canada. Good morning. None of your effing business. Deadly cold here in Montreal, Quebec. Absolutely. It's deadly cold here as well. At least good morning from Jamaica. Maybe you're warm there. 0 degrees here. Celsius. That's freezing, which is right about, we're like a little bit below freezing. 28 degrees. 32 degrees is freezing for Fahrenheit, so 28 is a few degrees below that. Mike sounds tinny. Let me see something here. Make sure I got the right. Hold on a second. Let me check on something. Check 1, 2. All right, now I'm going to have to go back and listen to my audio for a second to make sure that the audio is correct. Hold on 1 second, please. No, the audio sounds fine. It's what I always sound like. Mic sounds fine. Yeah, I just checked it. I checked it on the live stream. It's everything's going good. This is my Neumann TLM 103, which is right here just out of view. It sounds fine. Everything's good. That's the right mic. Yes, it is. I think the sound's normal compared to the other streams. Yeah, it's fine. It's the same. It's the correct mic. I just checked on it. Somebody said something about it sounding thin. And that's the correct mic. I'm not sure what they're listening on. But anyway, we've got some interesting things that I've discovered in my investigation of Final Cut Pro and other things. I like, Final Cut Pro I'm interested in. iPhone videography I'm very interested in. I got my DJI Action 5, which is a fantastic. If you wanted a camera to pick up to supplement your iPhone 15 or 16 Pro Max, this is the one, the Action 5. So small, portable, great quality, 4K, 120 frames per second, shoots in D-Log-M, really 10-bit D-Log-M. It's it's light, $300 and some typically. I got it special on sale on Amazon over the winter. I got it for about $330 some dollars, but that included a $15 Amazon gift card, so that brought it down to $320, and it included 2 extra batteries for it. So those batteries are $40 a piece, so that's another $80 off. So it basically, the camera cost me like $250. It's a fantastic buy. And it matches up pretty darn well. It's like I said, I shoot 10-bit D-Log M. It's got great stabilization, all kinds of options. And it's not, the my iPhone 15 Pro Max is $1,500. The DJI Action 5 is $350. So that's one of the reasons I'm selling my iPhone 15 Pro Max. I don't need 2 iPhones. I do not need 2 iPhones. Do you have any news? Is there any Final Cut Pro news from anybody? I guess, over the Christmas holidays, New Year's holidays, not much has happened, and I really didn't expect it. And since they didn't put the update out, since they didn't come out with the 11.0.1 update to Final Cut Pro before Christmas, I really don't expect it till sometime later in January, probably on a Thursday or a Tuesday. Those are the most likely days. So I've had this, I just call it the crud. It's not specific. It's not specific. These symptoms kind of change a little bit from day to day. No fever, no nausea, just kind of a loss of appetite. That's one of the things. And then this cough. I've had a cough for like 4 weeks now. So I went to the doctor before the end of the year for that. It's kind of hung on for a while. That was my concern. Kind of hung on for a while. Or maybe that's what I'm hearing, not the mic. Yeah. I'm not sure what you're hearing. But no, the mic, there should only be one mic on. I only see one mic listed. And it sounds fine when I listen to it on the live stream. It sounds completely fine. Let's look outside. Oh, look at that. I got an ad. I got an ad on my own channel? Really? Weird. So my Final Cut 11 has been amazing until I did the Sequoia 15.2 update. Now I'm having some weird issues with exporting in the export window, staying on screen even while it's exporting. That is very strange. Yeah, when you're dealing with software, there's lots of different things that can interfere with the smoothness of the operation. That's for sure. Let me just push that up a little bit. Now, yeah, that's interesting. You say Sequoia is a mess. Is it really a mess? My limited use, Final Cut Pro, Ecamm Live, Logic Pro, it's been working fine. It's been working fine. So hit that old thumbs up button. Thank you very much. I heard the motor on that standing desk, by the way. LOL, very slick. Yeah, I have a motorized standing desk that my tripod is mounted to, so it goes up and down. I can adjust the headroom by just raising and lowering my motorized desk. It's an L shape. If I ever clean up this studio, I'll give you a shot. I'll do a shot of it. Thank you. Thank you very much for another thumbs up. Okay, I think it's Apple Intelligence being added caused issues here. 15.2 opened up to it in Canada. Yeah, there's always issues, right? There's always bug fixes coming out. Sequoia has the longest bug list since a long time. Lots of hardware, software bugs, issues, many things break. Yeah, things break. Sometimes could be Apple's issue. Other times it could be the third-party developer's issue. Especially with Final Cut, especially with Final Cut, there are third-party developers that need to update their software. And people blame Final Cut for a third-party developer. No. Third-party developers have to keep up. Usually they can get betas or advanced copies or whatever. I have a similar standing desk set up, mind you. It's not an L-shaped desk. I have a similar desk mess probably as well. Well, mostly cables and stuff. I got cables. I got a tape measure. I got my DJI mics over there. I got multiple docks and things. It's just, before I'd show you that, I'd have to clean it up, organize the wires, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things I wanted to show you, look at this, how cold it is. You can't see, but look at the wind. You can certainly see the wind blowing back there, right? You can see the wind. It's very, very cold. Not unusual for this time of the year on the East Coast of the USA, but it's very cold. We had a light dusting of snow last night, but tomorrow, Monday, we're probably going to have 4 to 8 inches on the ground, which is, I'm not looking forward to it. We have plenty of bird food out. We have the suet out for the birds. We have the suet out for the birds, and we will feed them tomorrow as well. With the snow on the ground, we'll put trash bags down or something and put the feed. A lot of them are ground feeders. We put the feed on top of that. So once it snows, they will continuously have food. We take care of our outdoor animals around here the best we can. Same here. When I wrap up work today, or Final Cut Pro, listen to the stream, it's the winter cable management. It's meat cleanup. It's 16 Celsius here and 16 inches and still snowing. I bet. That sounds really cold. Now, when I was younger, I liked the winter a lot better than I do as I grow older. As I grow older, it just becomes work. If it snows, I got to get the snow blower out, which is ready, but it's still work. You know, I have to plow the driveways. It'll be hours of plowing, snow blowing the driveway. Now, what I did yesterday is I emptied the gas tank out because it had old gas from last year, and I didn't want to run that through it. So I got the gas out of the gas tank, put new gas in the gas tank of the snow blower, ran it for about 10 minutes on the new gas. Everything's fine. I have an electric start, 11 horsepower. It's got 6 forward speeds, 2 or 3 reverse speeds, and it's got a headlamp. It's pretty sophisticated. It's older, but as long as it keeps working. Now, I couldn't get out of my driveway if I don't have a snowblower because I'm not going to shovel it. I can't do that. I don't have the stamina for that anymore. I can shovel a walk, but I can't shovel the driveway. I'm a few hundred feet from the road. So I used to have a neighbor he does the main driveway, and then I just do my driveway and sometimes my neighbor's driveway across the way. But that's going to be Sunday. I'm probably not Sunday. That's going to be Sunday night into Monday. I'm probably going to do a live stream tomorrow, at least on Facebook, showing preparations for the big snow, because it's a big snow for us on the East Coast. We haven't had one for a while. 15.2 gave me problems in sync, Mac Cloud, iPhone for Apple Photos, so I do radical install 15.3 public beta. Have fixed it for me. Don't tell Tim. I will not tell Tim. So I don't do public betas for Mac OS or Final. I'm not on the beta team for Final Cut Pro, so that's a moot point. But I sometimes do betas of other software. sometimes do beta of other software. So everybody's doing pretty good with Final Cut Pro 11. So you know it's weird? I cannot read the comments when they're to the side. I got to bring them on the screen, and then they're in focus. Or maybe tell Tim so the public version comes out faster. They're blurry over on the side, but I can read them once I bring them on screen. But these, like I said, these are the wrong glasses for me. I went to a lot of stuff at the end of the year, got end of the year stuff done. I saw doctors for this thing that's been hanging on for like 4 weeks now. So it's too long. It's too long. So Final Cut Pro 11's been pretty good. There are some bugs, absolutely bugs. I keep seeing repeated comments about this bug, and I've seen repeated comments about bugs that are repeated over and over again, certain bugs. So we know we got bugs. That's not unusual. We've always had bugs in Final Cut, in Mac OS, in iOS, in iPad OS. Plenty of bugs there. So one of the things we're going to talk about today, the main thing we're going to talk about is, besides the snow, is they added a feature for the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro Max. They added a feature. Well, here we go. We'll talk right about this. This is timely. Just coming in, what is the audio mix about? So in Final Cut Pro, in the iPhone 16 Pro Max, they have a feature called, is it audio mix? Let me find a graphic of that. I have a graphic somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I can find it on here. I know I found it on here because I did it. So let me just get this. Hold on 1 second. I'll pull the graphic up for you. And I'll show you what it is. There's that. And let me go to countdown. Where we have, do I have, here we go. Let me just pull this up. It's interesting. I don't even remember what that is. Here's what audio mix is. This is available in Final Cut Pro. Let me pull myself up there. Wait 1 second. Here we go. Trying to get myself on screen. Is it locked? Yes, it is. That's why I can't do it. Let me unlock it. There we go. So when you record spatial audio or something like that in Final Cut, in the camera app, you get this option. You get this option over here for 4 different settings in the audio mix in the iPhone. So standard, in-frame, studio, and cinematic. You can choose any one of those settings in the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Each one changes the way that the audio sounds. Now, I don't know, it's AI. I know it's AI for sure. I'm not sure what they're doing with the microphones, because they have 4 microphones that they're using on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So I'm not sure between AI and the microphones how they're achieving the different sounds. Each one sounds different. Standard is regular. In-frame, studio sounds like you're in a studio, supposedly with padding and everything. Cinematic adds studio plus a little bit more background noise. In-frame is probably like audio isolation as far as I know. But anyway, this is available on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Okay? The question is, how do you get it into Final Cut Pro? How do you get audio mix into Final Cut Pro? Well, I did a tutorial on it probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks ago after the phone came out. And the only way I could figure on getting that audio into Final Cut Pro was to select it the way you wanted it in the iPhone, whatever one you wanted, cinematic, whatever, and you can blend it in with the regular, and then export that file to my Mac Mini, and then I could use that file in Final Cut, and it would stick. It would it's like you're burning in the effect in the audio file. To be honest with you, I was expecting audio mix to show up in the inspector when Final Cut Pro 11 came out at the Creative Summit in November. I was expecting there to be an audio mix the same way there is voice isolation, etc. Nope, didn't show up. So I was kind of like, really? They have this feature in the iPhone and we can't export the stuff to Final Cut Pro? That seems a little bit strange to me. Apple seems to push much harder on Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro since last year. Maybe they're up to something that's new. I hope so. I think they're going to be more aggressive than they have in the past. They know the criticism. When I say they, I'm talking about the Final Cut Pro team, our favorite fellow viewers. Thank you for Final Cut Pro 11. Thank you for the great Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. Yes, I think they're going to be more aggressive than they have. They've heard the criticism about not giving updates so often. I tried to add magnetic mask vat. It could not be copied between projects. Also hard to work on old B&W animation. Well, that's interesting. I'm sure that'll be improved. Those things will be improved. I'm looking for an alternative app that's similar to the audio mix feature. I don't have the iPhone 16. I don't know of one because the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max are the only ones that have the audio mix. It's combination of AI, combination of hardware. So I don't know where else you can get that. I mean, you can do other modifications in different applications with audio. Our favorite protein, yes, our Final Cut protein. That's what the AI always transcribes when I say Final Cut Pro Team. I got to stop and say Pro Team. The workflow you explained on your tutorial is perfect, but it needs that you shoot and edit in short time. Stefano, stick around. I've discovered something. I've discovered something about our conversations on Facebook about this, so stick around, please. But if you save your shoots to be edited in the future, that's the problem. Here's the thing. The workflow that I did, I would do the audio in my phone, adjust it the way I wanted, export that file, it would burn in the effect, and then use that in Final Cut. That's not satisfactory to me. Never was. And I'm really shocked that the Final Cut Pro team has not put this feature in after it's 4 months now since the iPhone came out. I'm really shocked, and I'll tell you more why I'm shocked in a minute. It's not a good feature. Number one, I'm not going to judge audio on my phone versus my studio. I want to bring the audio into my studio and make adjustments in my studio with Final Cut. I don't want to do it on the phone, export the file, etc. That was just one way of doing it at the beginning. that the one way of doing it at the beginning that I figured out to do. There's no information on Final Cut Pro on how to utilize the audio mix from an iPhone 16 Pro. So, we got a lot of people watching now, like 50, 60 people. Let me show you what I've discovered. I'm going to play a video of what I discovered, and then we'll discuss more. All right, here we go. One of the questions that I have about the iPhone 16 Pro Max is their audio mix feature that they showed back in the fall. It looks interesting. They're using 4 microphones of the iPhone, and they have different options when you record with surround sound. You have cinematic, you have standard, you have studio, 4 separate settings that you can do on the iPhone 16 Pro Max with audio. My question is, where is that information stored? Is it stored in the file itself? Or is it only on the iPhone? Well, I found out the answer to that. So here, I located the file in my Final Cut Pro library in the Finder, and I drug it over to the Photos app on my Mac. And look what we have, audio mix on the Macintosh from the file that I imported in Final Cut Pro. So the information stays with the file. It's stored in the file itself. So since it's stored in the file itself, why can't we access that in Final Cut Pro? And when you export that file to your Mac, it's available on the Mac, but it's not available in Final Cut Pro. I was kind of expecting it in Final Cut Pro 11 at the Creative Summit last year, but it didn't show up. Now I'm thinking, when we get the first update, Final Cut Pro 11.0.1 or Final Cut Pro 11.0.2, probably around NAB this year, at that point, we're probably going to get the ability to adjust the audio mix that we shot on our iPhone 16 Pro inside of Final Cut. It's not there yet, but the information is in the video file. The video information is in the video file. It doesn't stay on the phone. If you export the file, either by AirDrop or in this case, I actually imported it into the Final Cut Pro import window. Connected my iPhone via USB-C, imported the file into Final Cut Pro in the import window, and then I went to the Finder, Reveal in Finder, found the file, drug it to the Photos app, and there it was, audio mix on the Macintosh in the Photos app. So it stays with the file because I had no settings. I did 0 settings on my phone. I just exported the file. I checked to make sure it had audio mix available, and then I exported that file, and it's available when you export the file on the Macintosh, but Final Cut Pro doesn't see the information. Yet. The audio mix feature, since it's available in Photos app on the Mac, I would be really surprised if Final Cut doesn't, what's the right word? Open that, whatever it is, in Final Cut, maybe in Final Cut 11.0.1. So it doesn't expose the settings in the Final Cut Pro browser on a right click. It doesn't expose it in the library. I look in the library. In the library, you have audio isolation, you have EQ, you have et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's no ability for audio mix. Now, I didn't right-click on it in the browser. That's not where we normally adjust audio. We adjust it in the inspector. And there's been nothing in the update notes for Final Cut Pro 11 that says that you can adjust the audio mix in Final Cut Pro. So if it's there by a right click in the browser, I'll check, but I don't think so. That would be a surprise. Late here, does it bring into Final Cut Pro with what you have selected on the Mac level, or does it default back? There's no option. There's no option. You can export the file with it burnt in, whatever selection you have, but there's no option in Final Cut anywhere yet that lets you select one of those 4 audio mix settings. I bet it'll be like 11.1 as an added feature. I think 11.0 will must be bug fixes. So here's the thing. This is one thing that they've been fairly consistent on for the last few years. They're at 11 right now. They'll stay on 11 until 11.1 comes out, probably at the Creative Summit next year. 11.1 will be a bigger update. Anything between now and 11.1 will be 11.0.1, 11.0.2, 11.0.3. So I'm expecting a bug fix, 11.0.1, probably January. I would say within the next few weeks. They could slip in a feature like the audio mix feature. Since it's already on the Macintosh, since the Photos app already can access it, we know it stays with the file exported from the iPhone 16 Pro Max. No, I think this is going to be before 11.1. 11.1 probably is not going to be till the Creative Summit next November. I think we're going to see this sooner because it's already on the Macintosh. It's already in the OS. It's already in one of their apps, the Photos app. They just have to turn it on in Final Cut and fit it in the menus or whatever. So I don't think this is a difficult one for them to do. So I expect it sooner than 11.1. This means that if today I want to use that options, I can use Photos app and export the video, yes, as I want. It's a workaround, but it's okay. Wait for Final Cut Pro. So the workaround before, I was doing the changes on my phone and exporting to Final Cut with it burnt in. Now you can do it on your Macintosh. You can do it on your good stereo speakers. You can monitor with headphones, whatever you want to do, and then export the file from the Photos app and use that in Final Cut. You're burning in the audio mix options, okay? And then you can do that in Final Cut. But it's better than trying to adjust it on the phone. It's better. My Mac Mini is more powerful. It's got more horsepower. It's got better speakers. I trust the audio more than I do the phone speakers. So that's what I'm saying. That's the workaround for now. But I do listen. 11.0.1 probably in January. Probably on a Tuesday or a Thursday. Could be next week, the week after. Since it didn't come before Christmas, I don't know. I don't know when it'll be here. But I expect, since it's mainly a bug fix, they might slip this feature in or another feature in, or they'll do a bug fix in January and do 11.0.2 around NAB. Around NAB in April, and that will have this feature plus maybe one or two more. Audio mix in Final Cut Pro only makes sense if there's an audio mixer in Final Cut Pro. Ta-da! Very, very good, very clever. Tyler. I know you and I both want an audio mixer, but no, this is different. This is feature of the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Hopefully it's sooner then, absolutely, for Final Cut Pro 11.0.1. I don't have an iPhone 16, but when the file placed on the timeline reveal audio components, is it not there? No, it's nowhere. It's nowhere. It's not. Audio adjustments in Final Cut are in the inspector. In the inspector, you have voice isolation, you have EQ, you have compression, you have loudness, you have background removal, background noise removal. It's all in the inspector. It's all in the inspector. There's nothing there for these audio files, video files with the audio, even though the information's in the video file. I just confirmed it. I just showed you that it is. I'll play that video again before the end of the show. But I've confirmed that the information stays in the file. It doesn't stay on your phone the way I was afraid it was doing. It stays in the file. So when you import the video file to your Mac, the information's there. Final Cut's not accessing that information yet. It would not surprise me to see this little feature in 11.0.1 along with bug fixes. It would not surprise me at all, especially now since we've confirmed that the information stays with the video file. The information from the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the audio mix feature, stays in the file. I didn't have to do anything special. I just recorded it, export. I actually used the Final Cut Pro import window to see if it was. I airdropped it this morning, and that worked. It worked in the Photos app. So then I went and did the import into Final Cut Pro in their import window with a direct connect USB-C, and once again, the audio mix information was in the file in the Finder. When I took it over to the Photos app, showed right up. So they have the technology. Mac OS is doing it. Photos app is doing it. Final Cut Pro, don't know why. It's not there yet. They'll work it out. I mean, if they hid that feature somewhere, like a right click in the browser versus the inspector, I didn't look at a right click in a browser. I didn't look at audio components on the timeline because that's not normally where we adjust audio. We use the inspector. So that's the only place I looked was the inspector. If they hid it somewhere else. But the other thing is, I didn't see nothing mentioned anywhere in notes, release notes for Final Cut Pro. I didn't see it anywhere. So, would be funny if Logic got audio mix support before Final Cut Pro. It would be I don't want to give them any ideas. It's interesting that it's available in the file, but Final Cut Pro is not. Can't access it or whatever. So let me see if I can do this. I'm getting ads for something I'm skipping. There we go. So that's one of the things very, very interesting that I discovered this morning. As a matter of fact, I got that video up on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to turn it on. Let me just do this. Let me do this while I'm talking to you. Right now, it's all, on my YouTube channel, but it's private. There we go. I'm going to change it to public. Publish. Okay, now it is over. That video is over on my YouTube channel, and it's been made public. So it's very interesting. I'm not sure since it's available in Mac OS, since it's available in Sequoia, since it's available in the Photos app, but Final Cut hasn't dug into those features or that ability to use that yet. So there's been some discussion on the numeric system that they're going to be using going forward with Final Cut Pro 11. So here's what normally has happened for years now. First off, Final Cut Pro 10 is in the rear view. Final Cut Pro 11 is going forward. They come out with a full number update, and then they go 0.0.1. 11.0.1 will be the next update. Then 11.0.2. Then 11.0.3. And then about 1 year later, plus or minus, they'll come out with 11.1. Now, That's what Logic did. 1 year ago, November, Logic jumped from Logic 8.1 to Logic 11. 8.1 to Logic 11. I'm sorry, not 8.1, 10.8.1 to Logic 11 in 1 year. It went from Logic 10.8 in November of 2023 to Logic 11 in, I'm sorry, was that right? No, it went from Logic 10.8 to Logic 11 in 6 months. It was May. We got Logic 11 a year ago at the Creative Summit, a year ago November at the Creative Summit, Logic 11.0 at the Creative Summit a year ago, November 2023. This Creative Summit, 1 year later, we got Logic 11.1. So the distance between 11.0 point anything and 11.1 is very likely going to be 1 year. And they'll have updates, a bug fix or two, between that 11.0 point X until they get to 11.1. So I expect Final Cut to do the same thing. We got Final Cut 11 this November, probably get 11.1 next November. Could come out sooner, but I'm just going to say probably 11.1 next November. So is that interesting? Is that interesting? We got, for people who have an iPhone 16 Pro Max, we have the audio mix feature on the Mac, in Sequoia, in the Photos app. It is very, very cold out there. Very cold and very windy. I don't think it's going to get above freezing today. It's only 29, and that's cold for during the day. That is very cold for during the day. We'll play that movie one more time before we say aloha for today. But I just wanted to, I worked on that this morning. I'm thinking, let me try something. Let me see if it's available in the Photos app. And sure enough, it was. Everything's just sitting right there. The features are right there. So there you go. Pretty amazing. Pretty darn amazing. What time is it? 12:51. I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer. I'm just not, I got this, whatever, I call it the crud. It's non-specific except for the cough, the constant cough. I'm on medicine for that, so we'll see if it takes care of it. What do you think? We have a brand new Final Cut Pro Radio podcast. We've been doing that this is our 10th year. I need to see. I think it's our 10th year. It might be our 11th year. I really can't keep track. I cannot keep track. And that's available at your favorite podcast aggregator. And we talk, as you might expect, it's Serena Catania, Brett Wilson from Brett FX. Wait a minute, is that his last name? Oh, now I don't even remember. Hold on a second, I want to say his name wrong. It's not Wilson. Hold on a second. Brett Williams, not Wilson. It's Brett Williams. Brett Williams and our friend Philip Hodgetts and Bradley Olson. And we had a good time. Look at this. What? We're missing two people. Good evening from Brazil.
Woohoo!
And we have hello from Canada.
Maybe they can explain Boxing Day.
That's England, right?
And Australia.
Canada does too.
Yeah, they have it in Australia too. Yeah.
What is that? To me, it's like you're taking your presents and wrapping them back up and returning them to the store, putting them back in the box. That would be Boxing Day.
Oh, we have that.
Right. To me, that's Boxing Days.
It actually goes back.
So we talk about Creative Summit. We talk about transcribe, audio captions, and stuff like that, and a bunch of other things. So that's available at fcpradio.com or in your favorite podcast aggregator. Now, I've been doing the podcast for 10 years. I have two podcasts, and between those two podcasts, I have over 2 million downloads, audio downloads over the years of both of those. So fcpradio.com, or just search on iTunes for Final Cut Pro Radio, FCP Radio, and it'll come up there for you. Since Final Cut Pro 10 is behind us, I have rename a few raids, Final Cut Pro Studio, and relink all. All is okay. You got to be careful with that, renaming and relinking. I've had a problem with that in the past. It took a long time before Final Cut Pro supported Apple Vision Pro, or perhaps also the iPhone 16 Pro. No, I don't think so, because when they came out with cinematic mode on the iPhone 13 or 14, whatever it was, Pro, they updated Final Cut Pro the next day. So I don't think so. Besides, it's already there. The support's already in Mac OS Sequoia. It's already in the Photos app. In other words, it lives in the file. They just have to access the information. .8.1 to 11 is a valid progression in versioning. 7.0.3 to 10 for Final Cut Pro is not. Those are two different apps. 7.0.3 was a different application entirely to Final Cut Pro 10.0. 10.0. They were not the same. It was not a progression. 7.0.3 was one app. 10.0 was a brand new application. It wasn't a jump from 7 to 10. Two different things. Logic going from 10.8.1 to 11, it's still Logic. It's not a brand new application. Those were two separate applications, so it doesn't quite apply. But I know what you're saying, but it's a little different. I upgraded to Sequoia 15.2, and now only one of my OWC HDs connects to my 2019 Mac Pro. I have two of them, and two OWC I won't recognize. Well, OWC is really, really good with tech support. So I'm sure they will be able to help you out there. I don't know what to say specifically other than make sure you back up your Mac OS before you update, so you can always revert back to an older OS if you need to. If I'm going to do a major update like my MacBook Pro to my Mac Mini, I did the Mac Mini from scratch. Started from scratch, downloaded a pristine copy of Sequoia, started loading all the apps from the App Store. I didn't port anything over from my MacBook Pro, hardly anything. But before I did that, I did a thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Before I did that, I did what do they call that? A backup for the Mac OS for the entire situation. Everything. What do they call that? Whatever they call it, whatever Mac OS Apple has built in. I did a complete backup of that, of my operating system. I also did a complete backup carbon copy clone of everything. So I could not only go back to an earlier version of Final Cut Pro, I could also, Time Machine, that's it, Time Machine backup, thank you. Thank you, I Know Buddy and Stefano. Time Machine. So I do both Time Machine and carbon copy clone of my entire system before I would update anything that dramatically. Got two main RAIDs. One is named DaVinci Resolve, the other is Final Cut Studio. There you go. I just named mine 56 terabyte. That's what my main RAID is. 56 terabytes, so I have it. No user migration. I wanted to start fresh. I wanted to start fresh with everything. I didn't want to port over any issues from an older version of the from the OS or anything. I did use iCloud for some of my passwords, like for my Wi-Fi password and stuff like that. I did use iCloud. They were stored up in iCloud, and I did use that for just for passwords and stuff, but not for anything else. Everything else is installed from scratch. Final Cut Pro 11 was installed from scratch. The Mac OS Logic was installed from scratch. Everything was installed from scratch. And it took me a few weeks. I'm probably, let me see what I'm at right now. I'm not even sure. Yeah, my Mac Mini, that's storage. My Mac Mini Pro is at 1.43 terabyte available. So I have a 2 terabyte drive, so I'm just over 500 gigabytes of information. And I'm going to make a copy of that system so I can revert back to it if I have to. I have this one application that I really like. What is it called? Mini Menu something? Something menu. It gives me all the statistics. I can see my fan speed. I can see the SSD. I can see the temperatures of everything. I really, really like this. I updated it. Motion templates. I got problems with some not matching between machines. Yes, that can be an issue. I reinstalled my motion templates. No, I didn't. Let me take that back. I did not reinstall my motion templates. I reinstalled some of my motion templates. If they were easy to do from the plugin manufacturer, I would use the plugin manufacturer and download a new copy and do it that way. Other ones were more problematic or more involved. I'd copy them over into my motion template. What is your soft RAID version for your OWC RAID, free or subscription? I had the subscription, a 3-year subscription until the beginning of December, and I let that expire, and now I'm on the free version because there's nothing in the subscription version that I really need. As long as it mounts, and I've had few issues with that, as long as it mounts and stays mounted, the free version works fine. So if and when I need to update to the subscription version, I will, because it's I really like the hardware-software combination. I recently had to replace my Alex 4D adjustment layers with new copies on my new machine. That's what I mean. So as much as possible, I go back to the source and re-download everything. It's a pain. I know it, but I still do it. The older libraries weren't matching. There you go. So the older Final Cut Pro 10.8.1, if you had that, weren't matching, or 11.0, whatever you got. 11.0, whatever you got. We got a lot of people watching. I want to thanks for all the great thumbs up. So let me go back. Let me play that video one more time before we get out of here. I'm not leaving yet for everybody that didn't see it the first time. One of the questions that I have about the iPhone 16 Pro Max is their audio mix feature that they showed back in the fall. It looks interesting. They're using 4 microphones of the iPhone, and they have different options when you record with surround sound. You have cinematic, you have standard, you have studio, 4 separate settings that you can do on the iPhone 16 Pro Max with audio. My question is, where is that information stored? Is it stored in the file itself? Or is it only on the iPhone? Well, I found out the answer to that. So here, I located the file in my Final Cut Pro library in the Finder, and I drug it over to the Photos app on my Mac. And look what we have, audio mix on the Macintosh from the file that I imported in Final Cut Pro. So the information stays with the file. It's stored in the file itself. So since it's stored in the file itself, why can't we access that in Final Cut Pro? And when you export that file to your Mac, it's available on the Mac, but it's not available in Final Cut Pro. I was kind of expecting it in Final Cut Pro 11 at the Creative Summit last year, but it didn't show up. Now I'm thinking when we get the first update, Final Cut Pro 11.0.1 or Final Cut Pro 11.0.2, probably around NAB this year, at that point, we're probably going to get the ability to adjust the audio mix that we shot on our iPhone 16 Pro inside of Final Cut. It's not there yet, but the information is in the video file. The information is in the video file, and it comes over to the Mac from your iPhone 16 Pro Max intact. Do you build your RAID or buy turnkey, and do you use often long GOP for shooting and editing, and why? So I don't build my RAID. I buy turnkey because I can get a longer warranty. So in the case of my OWC RAID, it's 64 terabyte raw, 8 terabyte drives. If I just bought the enclosure and put my own drives in, the enclosure has 1 year warranty. I think it's 1 year. If I let them put the drives in, format it, they use enterprise class drives, 5-year warranty. A 5-year warranty. So that's worth paying extra for a turnkey system for me. Absolutely. So that's why I do that. We got like 60, 70 people watching. How many over there on the old X platform? 34 people on X right now, and a bunch on YouTube and a bunch on Facebook. 34, what does that pertain to? 34 degrees? I'm at 29 degrees Fahrenheit right now. 29 on X, I'm reporting 34. I have a little icon on X, and I have a thing let me show you here. Black. Let's go over to here, take this off. This is what I'm reporting over from X right now. A little eyeball there showing you how many people are watching from over on X. It's 34 right now, but it could be, obviously it's dynamic and changes. So, and I can see it's weird. Facebook doesn't report live viewers in my application. But whenever I finish, Facebook has the most viewers. When I finish this stream and I go over to the Facebook and look at the view count, it's always hundreds. It's 150, 200 right after the stream. So Facebook has lots of live viewers, and so YouTube does too. I was attempting to report X number before you did, I see. Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. So I'm going to prepare. Now, if you want to follow along tomorrow, at least on my Facebook channel, my Facebook channel, I'm going to do a live video of my preparations for this big snow event that's coming up. And that's mostly for the local area that I live in, Carroll County and Frederick County and places around Maryland. Mostly for that. I might do it on YouTube as well. I'm just going to show you what I've done to prepare for the snow event. And it's like, just going to say something like, what preparations have you done for the snow? And I'll go live and people will chime in what they've done and I'll show them what I've done. That'll be tomorrow, probably about this time. I guess I can do it on YouTube as well. It's mostly for the local people, but if you want to tune in, I'll be back. At least I'm planning on it. What about you? What about shooting and editing in LongGop, and how many drives in your RAID? 8 drives in my RAID, 8 terabytes, so the RAW is 64. After a RAID 5, it's 56. One little cold bird out there eating at the suet feeder. And I shoot in LongGop, HEVC most of the time. Nowadays, the computers handle it fine, especially my new Mac Mini Pro. I don't have any problem. My MacBook Pro, my M1 Max MacBook Pro handled it fine. I don't have any real problem. I shoot everything in 4K almost. And with my Lumix S5 Mark II X, I shoot in 6K. 6K 16:9 typically. I don't shoot in open gate unless there's a reason to, because I frame everything as 16:9, so that's what I like using. So, but it's 6K, and a lot of times I'll drop that into a 1080p timeline and have a lot of latitude with reframing if I want to. That's only with the Lumix. I'm going to, since I got my iPhone 16 Pro Max and I got my DJI Action 5 Pro, I'm going to sell my iPhone's 15 Pro Max. I didn't do it this year when I bought my 16, but I'm going to sell it locally on Facebook Marketplace. And I only deal in person, and I only deal with cash. So there's no problems with, oh, I didn't get that phone, or the phone, or the check bounced, or whatever. The Zelle payment didn't go through. No, cash, and in person only. I have a place we meet in public, and if something big, they can drive over to my house from there, or I will go to their vehicle and we'll exchange everything over there at the public place. That's the way I do it. So that's why I'll be selling my iPhone's 15 Pro Max. Any other comments about Final Cut Pro 11? First off, Final Cut Pro Team watches this live stream. We know you do. Thank you, Final Cut Pro Team, for Final Cut Pro 11. Please get the bug fix out for us as soon as you can, and get the audio mix from the iPhone 16 Pro. Now, that doesn't affect everybody, but it's nice to have that option for us that bought the iPhone 16 Pro Max. I'm not even sure if I'm going to get to 17 this year. Maybe, and I'll probably, what I'll do is I'll sell my 16 since I have the Action 5 Pro for a second camera. That's all I need. I thought I needed 2 iPhones. No. It's worth more to me to sell it and get some money to reinvest in other things. Anybody else have any things to say about Final Cut Pro 11 or Final Cut Pro in general, or have any questions about plugins that maybe the audience can answer? If I can't answer it for you, I showed you about the audio mix, which is very interesting. Don't you think it's interesting that it stays with the file? I found that very interesting. So that's why I think it'll be happening soon in Final Cut Pro. It's not that big a deal. Go Final Cut Pro team, go over to the Photos app team and see how they did it and steal their code when they're on lunch break. That's all you need to do. And go to the Logic team and steal their mixing board and incorporate it into Final Cut. Done. Absolutely done. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to rest, stock up some more wood for tonight. And like I said, it's only 28 degrees during the day. That's cold. I have a sunroom on the side of my house for the cats. We have a couple of community cats. It has a cat door. It's all glass. It has heated pads for them, so they're protected from the wind, protected from any big animals. They have heated pads. And when it's this cold out, I have a heater, space heater in there, as well as the heated pads. So they're very spoiled animals. And then we have bird food out for the birds that are flying around, suet out. We put bird food on the ground. We have bird seed in the independent feeders, as you can see. And see what's out there. So there's suet out there right now in there. And then there's separate canister with bird seed. There's also some bird food on the ground. And then back, you can't see it, but behind, let me pull myself up there and I'll show you. So right here above, behind that bush, is another white shed with 2 cat doors in it. It has 2 cat doors in it that sometimes the cats will go in there. It has straw, and they can go in there to get out of the wind, out of the rain, out of the snow, and shelter and protection. We take care of our animals the best we can around here. The best we can. Thanks, everybody. I put up that video on YouTube. Let me put the link up since I'm talking to you about it. Audio mix in Final Cut Pro coming soon. Shareable link. Link copied to clipboard. I'll put it up here. There it is. There it is. There's the link to the video that I've shown, so you can pass that around for people that are interested. It's interesting. It's on YouTube, but it's not coming up in my comments section yet. Little delay, but that's okay. I've got a couple more comments. I'm going to wait to put those up. Here we go. I'm considering buying a 17 Pro Max and keep my 15 Pro Max as a second camera in a 2-camera setup. Exactly. Well, I have the Action 5 camera that I really like, so I'm going to sell it. That's what I was doing. Definitely, I like to have 2 cameras, but I haven't used the 15 Pro Max, hardly at all. Not with these 2. I just don't, and I have an older iPhone, a couple of older iPhones if I really needed something, and I have a DJI Action 4. Actually, I'm going to sell that too, so that won't be around. Just skip this. So yeah, I like to, last year I got my 16 Pro, kept my 15 Pro Max. Next year, if I get the 17, I'll sell my 16 Pro. I don't need 2 iPhones when I got the DJI Action 5. I don't need 2. That's my second camera. All right, everyone, I am going to get out of here. Thanks each and every one of you. Keep warm wherever you are, unless you're in the summer climate in Australia. Keep warm, and I'll be back tomorrow talking about the local snow situation. It won't be about Final Cut Pro. It'll be about the local snow situation. So if you want to follow that, follow me on Facebook. I guess I'll put it on YouTube as well, just for the heck of it. So if any one of you want to follow along, it's going to be preparations for the snow that we're expecting. All right, everyone, I wish you absolutely the best in 2025. And if I don't talk to you before, I'll see you next Saturday if things go as planned. And the other thing is, we could get 11.0.1 this week. It's a possibility coming up. So if 11.0.1 comes out, I'll do a live stream after that. All right, everyone. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. My name's Richard Taylor, as you know. Final Cut TV and Coffee. I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.